I don't know how to film. I haven't filmed in so long. I feel so out of practice. Another year in the books. I'm just gonna get straight into it. I'm not gonna do a cute little intro. I'm just gonna get straight into the formalities. So hi everyone, my name is Jamie. If you're new here, I make videos about knitting and yarn here on YouTube. Not as frequently as I would like, but maybe that'll be a resolution for next year. Nevertheless, I do like to come on here every now and then and talk to you all about everything I've been knitting, which is exactly what I'm gonna do today, except it's gonna be everything that I made in 2025. So we're not just gonna be talking about my current whips, that's what I do on my knitting podcast, but this is gonna be like a full year roundup. I'm sure you know the drill. I'm sure if you haven't seen any of my videos of this nature, you've probably seen someone else's, so you get it, and it's the end of the year. So it's a nice way, I really find it's a really nice way to like look back and reflect on everything I have accomplished this year in terms of what I've made. And yeah, it seems as though the pile gets smaller and smaller every year, but that does not mean that I haven't been productive. I feel like I've been very productive. I'm really happy with everything I've made this year. I mean, I feel like I probably talked about this in my last year's video, but yeah, I've really tried to kind of like evolve my knitting habits and like my preferences. I'm not so much of a exclusively chunky knit person, even though I never really was exclusively, but I guess I just made a lot of chunky knits. But in the last like 2 years or so, I've really tried to, yeah, like experiment, work with lots of different yarns, lots of thinner yarns, different types of projects. And obviously my lifestyle has changed a little bit as well. So that's resulted in not being able to produce as many knits. Honestly, like it's probably for the best. I moved into an apartment this year, so I have less space than I once did. So it really isn't like conducive to just be pumping out knits every week. But yeah, I am very happy with everything I made, and I'm really excited to share with you, especially if you're new here and you haven't seen anything of these projects before. I do, like I said, a knitting podcast every couple months. So all of these projects I'm sure will have been discussed in more detail at some point in one of those podcasts, so you can obviously go check those out if I don't really go into too in depth, because otherwise we will be here forever. I want to try to keep this somewhat to a like normal length, just so that it's not like a crazy video to edit, and I can hopefully get this out like sometime around New Year's. I'm currently filming this on the 29th, so we will see. But regardless, yeah, I'm not going to go too in depth on each project. I'll just say a little spiel, my overall feelings, any kind of fun facts that I may have about it. But otherwise, yeah, I've done more in depth videos talking about all of these projects, so you can check those out. Obviously, if you're new here and you're not subscribed, or maybe you aren't new here and you're still not subscribed, please rectify that right now and hit the subscribe button. Like this video, it really helps push it out into the algorithm, so I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, comment comment what you're working on, because I always love to see what you guys are working on. But if you guys have kept a tally of how many things you've made this year, leave a comment. Obviously there's no like good or bad to that. I feel like I don't even need to do the disclaimer this year. I'm like, I feel like we all know the drill, like let's not compare, but it's just like I find it interesting. So yeah, if you feel so compelled to comment and let me know how many projects you made this year. I haven't even counted yet. I guess I'll do that at the end. But I also should, in terms of disclaimers, well first, okay, no, I will do the disclaimers, but I'm gonna keep them short and sweet, because I've probably disclaimed for like 10 minutes in previous videos, and I don't think that is necessary. First disclaimer is that I am a part-time knitwear designer / content creator, so to an extent, this is my job. I do design patterns. You will find that actually most of these projects I'm going to show you are not my patterns. I have been quite slow with my design output this year. But yeah, I also do have a part-time job. I currently work about 3 days a week, sometimes more. Luckily, I can knit at my job, so I guess that doesn't fully impact the amount of time that I am able to knit, like maybe other jobs would. But yeah, I also am doing other things, and so that has definitely contributed to the fact that I have not made as much, but also the fact that I do this as work to an extent will obviously mean that I have made more than maybe the average person, but also maybe the average person's made more than me. I don't know. But obviously, please don't feel compelled to compare yourself to me or anyone making these videos. It is purely for fun and just to show everything that we've made, show everything I've made, I guess in my case, and it's not to try and be like, this is like the normal standard of amount of things to make. Like, anyway, I feel like I don't really need to do this disclaimer this year. Just looking at the pile, I'm like, the pile is so much smaller than it was, say, in like 2022 or 2023. I feel like those videos were absolutely crazy. So yeah, I don't really feel like anyone's gonna be particularly triggered by this video, but obviously just want to put it out there that like there is no acceptable or non-acceptable amount of things to make, and you know, we're all just knitting for fun, and you know, some of us knit for work, but either way we do it because we love it and we make as much as we want to / are able to, and that's basically it. The other thing I wanted to say is that technically this isn't everything I've made this year, because I have dabbled in a little bit of gift knitting, done some sample knitting as well for some different businesses. So those projects I don't currently have in my possession because I've either given them away as a gift or they were not for me and they were for another brand. So yeah, I don't have every single thing I have made this year, but we'll just say this is everything I have made for myself this year, which is the majority of things I've made. So it is basically, it's pretty much comprehensive. So yeah, okay, we're actually gonna start. I'm not gonna go in chronological order because I don't feel like I'm able to even track that. I'm so bad at taking photos of my like whips and my FOs like at the time when I am making them or finish them. So it's really actually quite hard for me to track exactly what order I finish things in. So I'm just gonna go in categories. So we've got 4 categories, I guess. We've got jumpers, we've got kind of vests or trans-seasonal, yeah, I guess they're all vests. So yeah, jumpers, vests, and then like summer knits, so like tank tops and tees. And then we've got accessories, which is mostly socks and a beanie. So yeah, that is gonna be the 4 categories. We're gonna get started. We'll start with jumpers because there aren't actually that many. We only have 3, at least, that I made for myself. So yeah, obviously in no particular order. This is the first jumper. I actually am gonna do try-ons because we don't have that many projects to talk about. I can put them on, it's all good. All right, so yeah, I'm just putting it over my singlet, so if you can see this pattern through it, that's why. Okay, I need to like, my chair. I need to like fully stand back to show this entire project off. Obviously it probably looks a bit weird with this brown singlet underneath, but I'm too lazy to do the full stripping right now. So anyway, this is my Lilac Blossom sweater. Obviously it's not lilac, it's pink, but the original was lilac, so that's the name of the pattern. This is by Kyleigh Noelle. It is a fingering weight jumper. I genuinely cannot believe I made a fingering weight jumper. Like 2023 me, if she could see me now, she would be like, who is this person and what have you done with Jamie? Because yeah, I wrote a book on chunky knits for context. So it's like, what is happening? But we did it, we did. I made a fingering weight jumper, and like, not just a fingering weight jumper, it's lace and textured. So we've got several charts going on. I feel like you can't even probably see like this intricate lace chart, and it goes down, like you can't even see it. The camera doesn't even pick up the entire thing. It goes down to my hips, which for me is quite long. It's probably the longest jumper I've ever made for myself, at least. I just followed the pattern as is. So yeah, I didn't end up cropping it, and it definitely grew a lot in blocking as well. So wild, absolutely wild seeds, considering like the fact that I'm making jumpers right now that I just cannot finish. It really just shows that like it's such a mental thing, because like the different charts and different stitches made this knit work up so much quicker than it would have if it was a pure stockinette fingering weight sweater, which I never would have done. But yeah, it's crazy, honestly. I really can't believe I did it, but I did, and it was like, it took me 4 weeks, which is also insane. I don't think I worked on like anything else at that time, to be fair, but yeah, crazy. I don't really know. I feel like I've said so much about this project already. I will say I don't normally wear it like this. I do normally wear it with a little white shirt, like a white collared shirt underneath. I feel like it kind of elevates it. It makes it look a bit more sophisticated, and I don't know, I just prefer the way that that looks. Just, I don't know, something about like maybe just the length, and it's quite oversized, and like the neckline is kind of wide. So I just, sometimes I feel like I look a bit frumpy in it. I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing because I'm not used to wearing like such long jumpers. But yeah, it's such a thin jumper that it is really easy to layer. So we love that. I'll also let you know the yarn that I used, obviously. It's Bendigo Woolen Mills, luxury 4-ply in the colorway Pink Blossom. Oh my God, why can't I just Like Jamie remember the name of anything challenge. Sorry, just checking their website. Baby Blossom. Close enough. So yeah, this is Bendigo Woolen Mills, which is gonna come up again in this video, probably directly after this, actually. I've definitely become a bit of a Bendigo Woolen Mills stan this year, ever since I visited their store in July when I was at the Australian Sheep and Wool Festival, which is up in Bendigo. And I am currently working on 2 projects using their yarn as well. And yeah, you'll see 2 projects, including this one as well. So yeah, I've definitely made good use of the really affordable yarn that they have. So I'd highly recommend. And yeah, that's this project. Or maybe I'll hold it up as well so you can actually see the full thing in all its glory. But yeah, this is definitely one of the projects I am most proud of this year. That is for sure. Okay, jumper number 2 is the one and only. Well, actually it's not the one and only because it's the second one that I've made of this pattern, but you know, the one and only Shortcake Sweater. Let's pop her on, shall we? There she is. So if you don't know, the Shortcake Sweater is one of my patterns that I did release this year. I actually made the first sample at the end or towards the end of last year, and then wrote the pattern pretty early on in the year, maybe around like February, March, I think. And then finally released the pattern July, maybe? I think it was around July. So it took a while because life, you know, and moving and all the things, testing obviously takes a while as well, but we finally got the pattern out and it has been actually my most successful pattern ever. I think it is my best-selling pattern already, which is crazy considering it's only been out a few months, but seems to be the case. That definitely is in part because I did a knit along, which was so much fun. And if you participated in that knit along, thank you so much. It was amazing. And I hope that everyone who participated had a great time as well and enjoyed knitting along together. It was so cool to see everyone's color choices and just like how much everyone was like supporting each other and everything in the Discord and blah, 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 blah. I could go on forever about the knit along, but that's not what you need to hear me talk about. You want to know about the jumper itself. So yeah, this is the one that I made for the knit along, and I used Bendigo Woolen Mills Luxury 10-ply. I used the colorways Geranium for the pink, Baby Blue and Cream, and I'm so happy with how this turned out. You'd actually be surprised with how much I have worn this, considering I finished it in November, which I thought, you know what, like I'm gonna be putting it in the shelf, in the cupboard. It's not gonna see the light of day until maybe April. But Melbourne's summer weather has not been summering. I have actually gotten plenty of wear out of this so far. Hopefully that's gonna come to an end, considering it is almost January and we should be having summer weather. But yeah, honestly, I have actually worn it quite a bit. So that was like a pleasant surprise, I guess. Obviously, I wanted the weather to be warmer because it should be, and I've had enough of winter, but at the same time, it was nice to be able to wear the jumper that I had spent like 2 months knitting, which I didn't think I was going to get to wear until next year. So yeah, that was like, I guess, a bit of a silver lining. That's basically it. Oh, how many times am I going to walk into this chair in this video? I'm just overall so happy with how it turned out. I didn't use this yarn for the original sample. I used Cascade 220. So yeah, this is like a slightly thicker yarn, but I find it works up beautifully for the pattern. Just so happy with this one. I find the colors are just so striking, so beautiful, and the fit is perfect. And of course we have to talk about the shoulder detail, my favorite part of the design. We love. And last but not least, for the jumpers, we have my Lakes Pullover by Ozetta, which was the first out of these 3 that I actually finished, I'm pretty sure. This one, you can actually see the full thing in the frame because I made it very cropped, which is more like me than the others. And the main reason I actually made this so cropped was because I was playing a serious, intense game of Yarn Chicken that I did win in the end, but like only because I made it really cropped. Like you can literally see like the point where I started the ribbing was like here, not even like even shorter. So yeah, we were really stretching this yarn for what it was worth. I used the Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in colorway pea shoots. And I've had this yarn since 2023. I think I bought it in September 2023 when I went on my last Europe trip. And I actually bought the yarn with the intention of making a vest. So I'm sure you can understand why I was playing yarn chicken, because then obviously my plans changed. I really wanted to make this jumper. I had the yarn on hand and I thought, can I make it work? Like, does the pattern call for like 9 balls and I have 7 balls? Like, yes. Do I care? No. So yeah, we did some serious blocking, and honestly, it worked out fine. I've gotten plenty of wear out of it. I've talked about this a bit in the podcast. I would probably make some modifications if I was to make it again. I would probably just make a smaller size, even though this is like, I'm pretty sure I made a medium. I'm normally a medium, and like, I think this is the intended fit. Like, it's meant to be oversized, but I think because I made it so cropped, so maybe if I made it again, I'd make it longer, but who's to say? It doesn't really keep me as warm as I would like, just because there's so much positive ease that, you know, the cold air, especially when it's like windy, can really kind of just blow underneath, and it doesn't really keep you as warm as I would like. Also, yeah, like the sleeve shaping, like the cuff is pretty loose. So like the same thing with the sleeves, I guess lots of air is getting in there. So either I would like maybe modify to have a more fitted cuff, or I don't know, just yeah, make a smaller size probably would help as well. And just in general, in terms of like the actual overall look of the jumper, the pattern tells you to do the ribbing in the same needle size, but I think I would probably go down a needle size next time, just because, I don't know, maybe my ribbing's not very neat, but I just feel like I like the look usually a bit better of the ribbing being in a smaller needle and being a bit tighter. So that would be something else that I would do. And I guess also in terms of modifications, I'm pretty sure I made the neckline smaller than the pattern called for as well. I don't really remember, but that's probably something I did, because I don't like my necklines being too close to the neck, like especially with itchier yarns. Not that this is like a particularly crazily itchy yarn, but it's not the softest yarn I've ever used. So I didn't want it to be too close to my neck, just because it gets a bit sensitive. And also I was playing yarn chicken, as we have discussed already, so I couldn't really afford any like unnecessary yarn usage. So yeah, but overall I'm very happy with the jumper. I've gotten plenty of wear out of it. It's a saddle shoulder, which I haven't made any saddle shoulder jumpers, so this is the only one I have. I'm sure I'll be making more in the future, but for now this is the only saddle shoulder jumper that I have. And the color obviously is also quite different for me. I don't normally, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of green in this video, but I feel like this specific kind of foresty, darker shade of green isn't one that I am naturally gravitating towards usually. So the fact that I kind of push myself out of my comfort zone a bit, I guess it's a bit more wearable. So yeah, there's that. I'm by no means becoming like a neutrals person. I still love to knit and wear bright colors, but I am trying to diversify my wardrobe a little bit, just because sometimes I find myself in scenarios, mostly like funerals, I'm not gonna lie, but just in general, sometimes I'm like, maybe I don't need to be wearing a bright pink jumper or a bright pink whatever. And most of my like tops that I own are knits. I don't really own many that aren't. So yeah, I'm like, maybe I should have something to wear in the specific scenario, and then I can also wear it in other scenarios. Anyway, you get the point. Not everything always calls for a very bright whatever you're wearing. English. Struggling with that today. Anyway, I changed it up a little bit. What are you gonna do about it? Moving on to the vests. I have 4 vests to show you, and they are all blue and green. So prepare to see a lot of blue and green knits in the next however long. That was not on purpose, just a coincidence. First up is one of my patterns, the Cardi vest. This is the second one that I made, and I knit this actually also for a knit along that I hosted earlier on in the year, and I never actually posted photos or like took photos in this one, but I finally took some. I was just in Perth this past like week or so, having a little summer break and visiting my partner's family, and they have a nice little garden, and I was like, finally I can just like take photos. Like, that is such an underrated thing of it, like living in an apartment. I just have really struggled in general to take photos of things, because it's so easy when you have a garden just to go outside and pop the camera up and take some photos, but not so easy when you don't have a garden and you don't want your entire house being photographed all the time. Anyway, it's such first world problems, but I finally took photos in this, so I'm gonna post them. I'm probably gonna post them tomorrow actually. We'll see how I go, if I remember. But yeah, anyway, that's just a fun fact. But yeah, this is the Cardi vest that I made for the Cardi Vest knit along, which I hosted early in the year, as I mentioned. It was super fun. It was definitely a smaller knit along. I didn't do as much promo for it as I did for the Shortcake Sweater, but it was also my first knit along, so it was probably for the best that it was a bit more low key, so I could kind of get a bit of a feel for what it's like to run a knit along, and it was so much fun. I actually launched the knit along at the Australian Yarn Show and started knitting it while I was there, and then yeah, I finished it, like, I think it was a 5-week knit along, 5 or 6 weeks, so I tried to keep on schedule, so that's how long it took me. Honestly, it probably would have taken me a lot less if I hadn't stuck to the schedule, but I was also working on other stuff, so it kind of gave me an opportunity to just pick this up once, twice, 3 times a week, depending on the section that we were doing. But also it is, I think I made a size small for this one actually, whereas my original sample was a size medium because I wanted a bit more fitted vibe, and it is definitely a little bit more cropped than my other one as well. Yeah, I just like, if I'm gonna make more than one version of something, I want them to be pretty different, whether it's like in the fit or in the color choices. In this case, it's both, just because, yeah, otherwise I just find it very, like, I find it very boring. So yeah, that was the main reason I decided to go a bit smaller, but I do really, really like the fit of this one. And yeah, I'll also let you know obviously about the yarn. So the yarn is Chink Fibers and Melted Baby Suri yarn, which is one of my faves. And I actually helped develop the colorways that I use. They are from the collaboration that I did with them last year, which was for a mystery box. And these are 2 of the colorways that we developed for the mystery box. And so I had some left over. I thought, why not just use them together, because they look so different. Like, you would never even think, just because the mystery box was like, the other 2 colorways that were also in the box are like bright yellows and oranges, so I feel like using just the blues on their own really changes the vibe. So I wanted to use the 2 blues together, and yeah, the light blue is called Beach Club, the dark blue is called Blue Grotto, and I just love how they look together. I feel like they contrast so nicely, but also obviously complement each other so nicely. The buttons as well, I feel like, are such a fun little addition. I got these from, sorry, I should like put this button in properly. I got the buttons from 11T1 Windmills. She actually kindly gifted them to me, and I don't know how well you can see on camera, but they're like kind of galaxy marble material, or material, whatever, you know what I mean. And then obviously the blue is like perfect. It matches so well. So yeah, it was really just a match made in heaven. And yeah, this is it. So if you want to get the pattern, you know where to find it. Okay, keeping up with the theme of my own patterns, the next project is my very, very recently released, as in literally a few days ago, Happy Hour Top 2.0. If you aren't aware, I designed a pattern called the Happy Hour Top back in 2022. It features this beautiful hourglass stitch, which I just have, I'm still, even all these years later, obsessed with. I just love how it looks. It's just beautiful. And I've designed actually quite a few patterns using this stitch, but the Happy Hour Top was the first design that I ever did with this stitch. And up until recently, as I mentioned with the Shortcake Sweater, this was my best selling pattern, but it was worked bottom up, it was worked flat. And I do kind of feel like those things, but also just some of the grading, I felt like could be improved. And I really wanted to, I've been thinking about this for a while, but I was like, kind of just never really got around to it. But I had kind of not as many ideas these last couple of months. Like, I just was feeling a little bit creatively blocked. So I thought that's probably a good opportunity to go back, revisit an old pattern of mine that has done quite well, but that I think could be improved a lot, and basically rework it. And in doing so, I essentially rewrote the entire pattern. So this one is worked from the top down. It's charted as well, which the original pattern was not. It has been completely regraded. So I do think, and especially now that I've like seen all my testers versions and everything and they've all finished it, like the fit is a lot better than it was, especially just like across all sizes, because I feel like the way that I had graded it before, just I wasn't as experienced in grading, and especially like in different stitch patterns and stuff. I was quite new to it, and yeah, like looking back, some of the grading, it just led to the fit in some sizes being not quite what I like intended it to be. Like it was just more oversized around the shoulders. Like if you look through like the tester photos, you'll be able to see like some of them fit more like this, and then some of them kind of sit more kind of at the edge of the shoulder, which is like, if that's what you want, you can achieve that by going up a size, but like you should have the option of like your size fitting the intended way. So yeah, I made some grading adjustments as well as like basically rewriting the entire pattern, and I am so happy with how it turned out. I used Cama Rose Snefnug in the colorway Jelly Bean Green. It's just the most beautiful green. It's so striking and gorgeous. I'm so proud of it, and I'm really like, I don't know, I'm just really happy that I like actually did it, you know? Obviously it's not a new design, so I'm sure it's probably not going to do like as well as maybe other patterns that I may have released instead, but I feel like, you know, it was important to me to improve upon my existing work, considering I feel like I really have grown a lot as a designer since then, and I feel like I want my work to reflect that. I want the patterns that I'm releasing to be of a certain standard, so maybe one day I'll go back and revisit all my patterns, like all my older patterns that I'm sure could all do with an extent of improvement. But this one specifically, I really felt like there was improvements to be made that were pretty doable, and I was motivated. So this is the result. This is my version. We love, and spoiler, it actually led to more happy hour designs that I ended up doing, and I have now already started thinking about like, what else can I do with this stitch, because I'm just obsessed with it. It's just so, it's stunning, it's elegant, it's gorgeous, and I feel like it's so versatile as well. So yeah, that's this one. So another green beauty. This is actually a test knit that, oh, actually both of these next two ones are going to be test knits. So this is a test knit that I did earlier in the year for M Knits, and it is the Mave Vest. No, not Maisie. She's just released the Maisie cardigan, which is like a similar cable design, but this is the Mave Vest. Sorry, I got a bit confused there. I've just been seeing so much stuff on Instagram with the Maisie cardigan coming out, so if you are interested in like a cardigan version, none of this exact design, but all over cables, similar vibe, check that out. But also, if that sounds like potentially too much, because I can tell you that this was like a lot on the hands, the vest version might be more up your alley. So yeah, this was a huge challenge. Like I really wanted to push myself to, yeah, knit something really intricate, detailed. Obviously it's on quite small needles. I can't even remember what this was knit on, maybe like 3mm needles, something along those lines. I used like a fingering weight and a lace weight held together. So obviously it's not like super, super thin, but I feel like the tension is very, very tight. So it kind of worked out to be pretty similar to if I was just using a fingering weight. And of course, like you can just see like the detail in this. I am so, so proud of how this turned out. I like just love it so much. I mean, look, can you just appreciate these cabled armholes? Like delicious. Obviously I wouldn't normally wear it with a single top underneath. I just can't be bothered taking it off. Obviously just ignore that. But I also find like the deeper armholes makes this like a really great layering piece as well. And I'm just really proud of myself. Like these cables were like twisted cables. Like it was a lot on the hands. Like I can't stress that enough. We had a lot going on, and I was really, yeah, like intensely working on this. I didn't really knit much else at the time because obviously I was under a deadline, and I was also just like addicted. Honestly, the pattern was addictive, just like seeing the cables kind of come to life. And I definitely feel like I need to get some more wear out of it as well. I feel like I keep forgetting that I have it, but I should really wear this one more, especially in this like milder weather that we're having at the moment. So yeah, yarn I used was Chaos yarn. Like I said, it was like their organic fingering merino and their organic brushed alpaca, which are yarns I've used before and I really, really like. I bought them in Denmark a few years ago. I think the colorway I used was Charming. It's this beautiful, beautiful green. I think it's Charming, maybe Vivacious. I actually can't remember. Maybe Charming was the other one that I used. I don't know. It's the green one, and it's stunning. But just in general, I'll just give M Knits like another shout out. Highly, highly, highly recommend her patterns. I have just bought yarn to make her Winona polo, and look, if my hands can handle it, I'm sure I'll probably make a Maisie cardigan at some point because it is so beautiful. I have just been like in awe every time she posts about it, but just knowing how intense this was, I'm like, I need to be in the right headspace for that. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, if you like really beautiful, intricate, well-written, well-graded patterns, definitely recommend M-Knits. Okay, since this one's a V-neck, I thought I'll take the brown top off because, you know, I wanted this to look still kind of normal. So this is another test knit that I did this year. I'm pretty sure the only other test knit, if I'm thinking, yeah, I think this is it. It was just this one and the Mave Vest. This is the Lacy Days Vest by Anxious Girl Knits. It was a very, very quick knit, so definitely contrasting the last one. This one took me, I don't know, a week maybe to make. It was such a quick one, which was definitely a refreshing change just because I've made so many thinner projects this year that have taken me much longer than what I was kind of used to. So yeah, this is a really, really fun one. Obviously we've got these beautiful ties on the sides, which I just love, and I think that's such a cute detail. And I don't really think I have anything in my wardrobe like it, so it's filling a space, which is good. And then of course the color is just stunning. Also using yarn that I bought on that same Europe trip. This yarn is Lana Grossa, I want to say Alpaca Air. Colorway I cannot remember, but I don't think they have that many colors, so you should be able to figure it out if you wanted to check it out. It's this beautiful, like, I don't know, cornflower blue maybe. It's so stunning, and I had this yarn sitting in my stash waiting for the perfect project for like 2 years, so I'm very happy that I finally was able to use it, and I had like the perfect amount, and it was like the perfect yarn. I'm pretty sure the pattern calls for Melt to Baby Suri, but this yarn works up beautifully. It is held double. It also calls for like Melt to Baby Suri held double, so yeah, I found it to be a great dupe in terms of gauge, and it's very, very soft. It's so soft. Like, this is actually genuinely one of the softest yarns, if not the softest yarn I've like ever used. Like, I can't stress that enough. It is so soft and feels so nice. And of course we've got this lace pattern, which was really fun to do. I hadn't really done much lace this year, so this was a good one to just kind of knit when I wanted to focus on my knitting and not on other things. And yeah, like I said, it works up pretty quickly, so it doesn't kind of become too tedious. It's a great layering piece as well. I wear this one usually with like a long sleeve top underneath. It's a bit hot for that right now, and I also can't be bothered, so yeah. But yeah, that is the final vest that I made this year. Okay, moving on to the summer knits, like tees and tanks section of the video. This is the first one that I made. I think I might have started this like on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or something. So yeah, it's been almost a year since we started it, and I'm pretty sure I finished it around January. So this might be the first FO that I actually had of the year. And it is, I probably could get away with not even saying what pattern it is and you would all know, but obviously I'm going to say it. It is the Ranunculus. What is there to say about this pattern that hasn't already been said? Honestly, everyone's made one at this point. I would be very surprised if many of you hadn't made one, so there's that. I had actually been very like reluctant and like resistant to knitting it for a very long time. I didn't really get the hype, and I just didn't really see myself wearing it. I couldn't really visualize it in my wardrobe. But I finally decided to just like bite the bullet, see what all the hype was about, see what all the fuss was about, and yeah, use up some yarn that I didn't really know what I was going to do with. I had, I think probably two skeins maybe of this yarn that I had bought secondhand from florist. There was a whole vlog about it if you want to go and check that out for the context. But yeah, it was like a worsted weight yarn, and I just didn't really know. I think at the time I bought it, I thought it was a DK, but then it actually ended up being more of a worsted weight, and I was like struggling to find a pattern that would work with it, and that I could only use like those two skeins, and I was just like, oh god, like I don't know what to make. And then I kind of figured that the Ranunculus was very adaptable, and there's all these different versions, all these different kind of ways that you can play around with gauge. And yeah, I just thought, you know what, like obviously is it like the yarn that I would ideally choose for this pattern? Like probably not, because obviously we've got all this lace work that I feel like maybe would stand out a little bit more in another yarn, but it is what it is. I'm still really happy with how it turned out. I feel like this yarn, I genuinely, like I'm not actually gonna lie, I can't remember the name or anything about it. I think it was from Hort knit yarn. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. And the colorway, oh, I'm trying to think. Maybe it was like Azure Sunset or something. I'm pretty sure something along those lines. Anyway, it's like supposed to be, I think, inspired by like ocean and sunset situation. So yeah, very summery in my mind. I feel like it's, yeah, really different to kind of any other yarn that I have used. And yeah, I honestly need to wear this more because I definitely don't wear it enough. I feel like I always forget that I have it, but I do have it and I need to wear it. So this is a good reminder. But yeah, anyway, I made a ranunculus. I'm a knitter. What else is there to say? Okay, up next is the not one and only, but the one and only plot twist tank. This is another one of my designs that I actually released a pattern for this year, one of the very few, and this is the second sample that I knit, which I made in January. I actually like vlogged basically the whole process of knitting it whilst I was on a road trip in WA back in January. So if you want to kind of watch me knit this but also see all the beautiful places we went, I would recommend. So yeah, this is the second of what is now 3 samples that I've made of the plot twist tank. The third one you will see very soon because I just finished it. But yeah, this was the second one that I made. I made the first one back in December, so this was a very quick turnaround, but I felt like there needed to be some tweaks made that basically required me to knit it again, which is very rare for me. Normally I just try to make the tweaks without making a second sample when I'm not fully happy with the first sample, but I just felt like, especially for taking photos and stuff, like I really wanted a sample that was exactly kind of what I wanted it to look and fit like. So I made a second one. Obviously I chose a colorway that I was obsessed with because otherwise we would have struggled to knit the same pattern so soon after knitting the first one. But I'm so happy I did because the second one turned out perfect. I wrote the pattern based on this version and released it in August. So it took a while from January into August. Like I said, these things take time. I mean, I think I probably only wrote the pattern around April, May-ish maybe. No, it would have been earlier than that. Maybe, I don't know, April time. I don't know what time is. I wrote the pattern like kind of a few months after I knit the sample. So that's why it took so long. It wasn't like I wrote the pattern in January and then released it in August. Things take time. Vibes, life got in the way. But yeah, it's been so nice to see how well this pattern has been received. Obviously, we've got another little theme going on with some cabled armholes. Obviously, these ones are a lot smaller and subtler than the Mave Vest, but yeah, I love that we like both just had the idea of doing cabled armholes kind of like independently, but around the same time, which was kind of funny. But yeah, I designed this pattern to be, well, firstly, this is my first like tank top pattern, so that was really exciting. My first time designing with negative ease, which was kind of scary, but now I realize is actually not that scary, and I'm excited to do more designs in the future with negative ease and really play around with shaping and all of that, because I do really love to make a summer knit, so I feel like I need to design some more. As much as I love to knit tank tops, something that I have really struggled with in the past with tank top patterns that I followed has been how they're not really usually quite so bra friendly. And as someone who can't get away with not wearing a bra, I found that really frustrating because my bra straps would always show. I do wear like exclusively Nala bras, and most of their bras have quite thick straps, which is obviously great for support, but you know, makes it a little bit harder to hide. And so something that I was really conscious of when designing this pattern was to make it bra friendly. Obviously it's not like the straps are crazy thick, like I still wanted it to have that tank top, you know, singlet top vibe. I didn't want it to be like a vest with like thick shoulder straps, but at the same time I did want to make sure that like the way that the straps sat would be kind of where the bra straps sit. So as you can see, I have bra on right now and the straps are covered. Crazy concept. Yeah, so it's really just about where the straps actually sit. It's not even about the actual size of the straps, but more just where they sit on the shoulder and how the neckline and everything is graded. So that was something I took really like close care to make sure was the case, I guess. I really wanted it to be bra friendly. I also wanted to make sure that the bra wouldn't peep through the armholes, which I also find happens sometimes when the armholes are a bit too long and the bra shows through. So I really tried to, yeah, design that so that I could wear a bra, and so far it's been great. and I've had really good feedback. And obviously we have the beautiful cable detail that goes all the way down the sides, which we love. And yeah, I've also done a bit of waist/bust shaping, which is optional in the pattern, but wanted that for if you want like a nice fitted look like what I have. A lot of tank top patterns don't have shaping, and then they kind of just hang. If you have boobs, baby, just kind of hang, and they don't really, it doesn't like actually hug your figure the way that you want it to. So yeah, all these things were things I kept in mind, and I'm really, really, really proud of the result. So yeah, that is this one. And the yarn I used was from Rainbows and Sprinkles, and the colorway, I'm pretty sure it's called I Hope Your Day Shimmers. She has so many colorways. Like, I don't even think this colorway is on her Instagram. I've like tried to find it. I've never been able to find it, but it was on her website once. I bought it. I don't think I've ever seen it on her website since. So I don't know how helpful it is telling you the colorway, but it's this beautiful pink with like little neon rainbow speckles. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but I love it. It's probably my most worn, definitely my most worn like summer knit, even though most of the year has not been summer. But I feel like when I reach for a summer tank top, like this is the one I reach for, mostly because of how well it fits. So yeah, that's the plus twist tank, but actually not, because I'm about to talk about the next one that I made. So yep, hold that thought. Okay, keep in mind this one has not been blocked because I only just finished it when I was away in Perth this past week, and I got home last night, so I haven't had a chance to block it yet. I could have probably blocked it there, but I just wanted to use my blocking mats and everything, and yeah, anyway, my wool wash, all the things. So I waited till I've got home, but I wanted to film this video today, and so I thought, oh, do I wait for it to dry? I'm not gonna be able to wait for it to dry, and then whatever. So you're getting an unblocked version. I feel like you can't really tell, to be honest, because it's obviously so fitted anyway. So yeah, this is the third sample of the plot twist tank that I have made. I actually started this back in May, so it took me a long time because I took a very, very long break and basically went into hibernation. But I really like motivated myself to finish it while I was on this trip because I was pretty close. Like, I think I had just about finished the bust waist shaping when I picked it back up. So I basically just had to knit the rest of the body, which wasn't too much, and then the neckline, and then that was it. So yeah, this didn't take me too long to finish, and it makes me think about like how long I procrastinated for, but at the same time I really wouldn't have been able to wear it in that time, so it's okay. And I wanted to make sure that it was done for the summer, so we achieved that. I bought this yarn. I got it from Fancy Yarns, but it's from Obsession Yarns. It's hand dyed, and the colorway Silver Sword, I want to say. I actually bought one skein of it back in 2024 at the Australian Yarn Shows, which was March 2024, and then didn't know what to do with it. And then at the Fancy Yarns pop-up that they had in Melbourne, which I also vlogged, so you can check that out, they had another skein of it, and they told me it was the same dye lot. So I bought a second one, and then I casted this on not long after. But as we know, it took me quite a while to finish it. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to make another one because I love, like I said, I reached for the other one so much, to the point where it's probably like I need to have another one just so I can have, like, I can wash that one more frequently, because I really do wear it so much, especially in summer when it's hot, and you know, in my mind it was getting a bit gross, so I was like, I should just have another one, you know, like if I like it, I'm gonna get it in another color, but in this case I'm gonna make it another color. So yeah, this is a rare occasion where I've made the same design 3 times. I cannot believe that. I probably won't make one for a while unless I decide to do a knit along, in which case I probably will make another one, but we'll see. I don't know. I definitely need a bit of a break from it, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, enough about the plot twist tank. You know where to find the pattern. If you're in Australia like me and you want to make a summer knit, I highly recommend this one, especially if you have boobs. Okay, this is the final garment that I'm gonna talk about. Why do I feel like I'm so, I don't know if it's the way that I'm standing, that I'm just kind of like standing lower than I was before, but anyway, I'm just gonna keep moving the camera down until I'm happy. But yeah, this is the final garment of the video. The final garment that I finished this year, in the sense that I actually finished it today. Finished weaving in the ends, I should say. And it is not blocked, as you can tell. I'm gonna do a before and after blocking for this one because it is really strange. This yarn really will benefit from a block, so stay tuned for that. And I'm sorry that I can't show you the nicer finished version of this, but this is what you're gonna get, because in my mind it's still finished even if it's not blocked. This is the Cloud Tee by Petite Knit, and I knit this in Isaja, I don't know if that's how you say it, Isaja Alpaca 2, which I was kindly gifted for my birthday from my beautiful partner Asha. We went to Sunspun, which is a lovely yarn store in Melbourne that I've actually never been to, and I really wanted to go and see what they had there, and ended up walking away with 5 skeins of this yarn, and I only used 3, so I don't know, I seriously the pattern either really overestimates it, because yes, I did make this more cropped because I was like getting really bored. I just needed it to be done, and I knew that like I don't mind a crop knit, especially for a tee, so it's totally fine to just end the body where it was. And obviously I'm gonna block it, so it'll be hopefully a bit longer once I've done that. But I don't know where, like I used pretty much the full 3 skeins. I hardly had any left, but I don't, either the pattern, I have to check again, either the pattern seriously overestimates how much yarn is needed, or I really just like made it that crop, but I don't feel like I did. I probably made it like 5-ish centimeters shorter than it was meant to be, so I don't know. But now I have 2 skeins that I don't really know what to do with, so we'll figure that out. I might like dye them or something, but even then I'm like, I don't really know what I can do with 2 skeins, considering this was like basically 3. But let me know if you have any ideas. This is a cream tee. Like, who would have thought I would make something in this color? Not me, that's for sure. Honestly, I think this is like the only knit that I have in like just plain cream or white vibe. And I realized that because I was looking at the pattern and I really liked her version, which was just in like a plain cream, maybe a bit lighter than this one. But yeah, I was like, you know what? I feel like that is, once again, like that is the kind of thing I should probably have in my wardrobe. And yeah, I just ended up going for this color. Was it kind of boring to knit? Yes, like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I found, other than like the short rows, I found this pattern very boring because it is knit on fingering weight yarn, and I'm pretty sure this is actually more like a lightweight fingering yarn, like a light fingering. I had to go down a needle size just so that I could get a fabric that I was happy with, because it was quite see-through and like messy in the recommended 3mm. So I went with a 2.75mm, and I ended up just sizing up to a large instead of a medium so that I could kind of still make it fit me. So that was a little bit of modification that I did, I guess, other than obviously the length. I haven't blocked it yet, but I'm sure just based on how it's fitting now, it will fit well once it's blocked. And hopefully my stitches will even out, because I don't know if it's just this yarn or what, but my stitches were quite messy. I found it really hard to maintain an even tension. Even when I sized down the needles, I found it quite hard to keep my tension even. So I definitely will give this a very good block and hope that that will help and solve all my problems. Also, like, it's obviously fine. Like, I'm wearing a cream, like, not cream, I'm wearing a nude colored bra with this right now, so I don't think it's see-through. It doesn't look like it is, but I basically can't wear any other bra underneath it, which is fine. It's okay. I've got like 2 or 3 nude bras, I think, so I should be fine. But yeah, like even wearing a white bra underneath, you can still, you can see it. So I guess that's just the only downside to using a color like this, and also such a fine yarn. Just kind of, it's how it is, you know? But the yarn is really soft. It does feel quite nice on my skin, and I'm sure after blocking will feel even softer and nicer. And like I said, it wasn't a terrible experience to knit with the yarn. It was just hard for me to maintain tension. Probably also because the yarn is like so light, like so thin. And I'm not necessarily, like I'm used to using thin yarn, but maybe just like it was even thinner than a fingering weight. I don't know. But I feel like until I blocked it, I can't really comment on how happy I am with it. But at this stage, I think it's going to be good. So yeah, I'm happy I made it, and I'm sure I'll get a lot of wear out of it. It took me ages because I was just so bored and like unmotivated to just knit in the round forever, or what felt like forever. And the color wasn't really inspiring me. So, you know, maybe that's a bit of a downer, but hopefully, I mean, I wouldn't wear it with these shorts, by the way. That's obviously not working. But yeah, hopefully we will get a lot of wear out of it and it'll all be worth it. Okay, moving on to the final section of the video, and that is accessories, which in this case are mostly socks. I have one beanie, which maybe I'll start with. This is another pattern by Petite Knit. This is the Oslo Hat. I honestly love, like, okay, I don't know what the lighting is doing right now, but I love how this turned out. I feel like the lighting is really not doing it justice at all. Maybe the mohair is making it like really reflecty and it's not like showing the colors as much, but it's this beautiful rainbow pastel kind of kaleidoscopy vibe. And yeah, it's a beanie. It looks so stupid on me. Okay, that's the only thing. Like, it was really fun to knit and I love how it looks and how it turned out, but me and beanies, we just have a really complicated relationship. As you can obviously already tell, like, it just doesn't really suit me. And like, oh, like, I don't like it when it has like, maybe it's fine if it has like a bit of a slouchy, slacky, like maybe that's more of a vibe. I don't know. I've just always been really bad with like headwear, hats, beanies, headbands, anything, like wearing my hair up even. Like, I don't like it. So I struggle, okay? It's probably because I have short hair, but it's something about just, I don't know, my hair and my head that just is really difficult. So this is only the second beanie I've ever made for myself. And I actually had to like put a lifeline in and like frog a whole lot back to make it shorter because it was way too long. So this is like not even like me following the pattern lengths. Like, this is literally just, yeah, like this is, I don't know, I guess maybe I could fold it up a bit more. But it's just, it's really, really tight around my head. I don't know. Anyway, I still got to figure this out. Obviously, I didn't really wear it much this winter because, yeah, complicated relationship we have. But it's cute, okay? It's cute and it's pretty. So there's that. But it was good for me to like step out of my comfort zone a little bit, you know? So yeah, maybe I'll, now that I'm kind of coming closer to the camera, maybe we can lift you up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I'll also just let you know the colorways that I used, the yarns that I used, I should say, because I used 2 different yarns, like from 2 different dyers actually, but they worked so well together. The first was the fingering weight, I think it was sock yarn that I had, which was from Explorer Knits in the colorway Sagrada Familia, which if you're aware of the inspiration, I'm sure you'll understand like why it's so beautiful and colorful. Obviously the series that I use is, I feel like, kind of muted the colors a lot, but it was a very, very bright, beautiful rainbow colorway that was just so pretty and I had in my stash. And then I ended up buying a skein of Lacy silk from Maximu here in Australia, and that was in the colorway Plushy, and they just worked so well together that it was a match made in heaven. Like, 2 dyers from different sides of the world making completely different colorways that end up just working so well together. I feel like it's just, yeah, I just love that when that happens. Like, I didn't even buy that yarn with the intention of using it with Explorer Knits yarn. I just bought it and I was like, let's see what happens. Like, I'll figure it out. And then it was like perfect. And so yeah, I only had one of each. So that's why I made a beanie. But as you can see, we have a bit of a complicated relationship, which we're working on. So yeah, stay tuned to see if I ever figure out how to wear this thing. And now we're gonna move on to socks, which there are a lot of. Spoiler, I had a bit of a sock knitting craze that I went through this year. I feel like I'm kind of mellowing out a bit when it comes to the sock knitting. I've been knitting more like bigger projects lately, but I did have like a couple months there where I couldn't stop knitting socks. It was a bit intense. So I'm gonna show them all to you. I'm gonna talk about them all fairly briefly because, you know, they're all socks, like how much can you say? But I do want to show them all to you, obviously. So yeah, these ones, honestly, it's pretty funny to include them in this video because I'm pretty sure I made majority of both of them last year. I literally just had to like sew up the ends, like, oh, I don't know. I was very close to finishing these going into this year. They kind of match this top. That's fun. But, you know, technically I finished them this year, so we're going to include them. They are, I think it's just like the basic sock, one of the basic socks from the sock project by Summer Lee, and I used the colorway the Patriarchy from Woolworks for the main color, and then I used Blonde Fragility and Greta for the cuff and the heel. Pretty basic. Oh yeah, and the toe. Yeah, pretty basic, like standard, you know, heel flap and gusset sock. But I've definitely gotten quite a good amount of wear out of them, so I'm not going to show them to you too closely because they definitely don't look picture perfect, but the point of making these is to wear them, so I'm not going to shy away from that. Finishing these really like opened a gateway for me because once I finished them, then I was like allowing myself to cast on a new pair of socks, and that's kind of when the sock craze really kicked in. So whilst I didn't really knit most of this in 2025, it was the start of something that really took over a good portion of my year. So yeah. Then we have my first pair of Colorwork socks. Oh, I'm just obsessed with them. So these are the Cozy Cottage socks. No, Cozy Country Cottage. I always forget. Country Cottage socks, I think, by Stone Knits. It's part of the Dream Home sock set, so you can't actually get this pattern on its own, but you get another beautiful pattern as well if you buy the set, so can't complain. These are just everything to me. I love them so much. So I used, the main color is from Three Cats yarn, and it's called Meadow, and then the blue is from Hodgepodge Skeins, and it was just a blue mini that I found at Bendigo, and it was a gift from God because I had been struggling to find a blue that I wanted to use for the sky for ages. And then the white is also from Hodgepodge Skeins. I think it's called Prosecco. The red is just, I don't know, some random yarn. And then the cream, which you can't even tell is like a different color, but this is also Blonde Fragility like I used in these ones. So yeah, we made it work. We finally got all the colors, and yeah, this is really what started my kind of like sock / colorwork obsession that I went through the second half of this year. So that is these. We love them so much, and we love Stone Knits, and I actually made another pair of Colorwork socks by Stone Knits. I did say I wasn't going to talk about the ones that I didn't keep for myself, but yeah, I did make a pair of her Don't Bug Me socks for one of my friends, which was also such a fun knit, and I'm definitely going to make another pair because I'm pretty sure I have enough yarn in all the colors I used to make another pair for myself. So stay tuned for that because I'll probably do it next year, and it'll be in next year's video or in another video closer to that. Anyway, okay, these are my first pair of staple socks. The staple sock pattern is by New Wave Knitting by Jeanette, and she actually ran a knit along for this pattern back in July, which I took part in, and I made these. Honestly, like, they look so long when I'm like not wearing them, but I feel like they stretch out when I'm wearing them, and they're not actually as long as they look, but also compared to all my other socks, they're definitely the longest socks I've ever made, which is why it felt like they took a while, but I really pushed through, and I feel like had I not been doing the cowl, I would have probably taken ages to knit these. So sometimes it's good to have a bit of extra motivation. So yeah, I knit these staple socks. If you also don't know the staple sock, it's a made to measure pattern. So you input your measurements and you input your gauge. Actually, you can use any gauge as well, which is 6. So you input your measurements, you input your gauge, and it spits out the pattern for you, and then it fits like a glove. It is amazing. So this is the first pair that I made, first pair of many actually, and I used Hedgehog Fibers, I'm pretty sure. Hedgehog Fibers foam. Yeah, sock yarn in foam, which I bought from Little Woolly last year and had been saving for a while. And I was finally like, you know what? I'm gonna use it, and it's just so pretty. It's such a pretty colorway. I feel like the camera really doesn't do it justice, but they're so pretty, and yeah, I really should wear these ones more, but I feel like they're just so beautiful that I like don't want to wear them and ruin them. But yeah, love these. Then I decided to test out the staple sock pattern and see how it would work with a thicker yarn. So I had bought this DK weight sock yarn back in March in Canberra at the yarn show, and I finally decided this would be the perfect time to put them into use because I could just input my gauge, input my measurements, you know the drill. And yeah, these took me 4 days total, like 2 days per sock to make. So insane. Like, DK socks just knit up so quickly. Like, obviously they do, but like I couldn't believe how quickly they knit up. So yeah, this is my second pair of staple socks. I kind of call them my wicked socks just because obviously pink and green, but yeah, the yarn is from Joe Kamamo Textiles, and the colorway is Spring, which I also love because I'm a spring baby. My birthday is September 1st. So it all just felt right, you know? And yeah, these are like my nice thick boys. I did the folded hem cuff instead of the ribbed cuff, which I did for my first pair. So I thought I'd just try out the folded cuff, and I really like both of them. These are nice and warm, just for the extra bit of warmth. So these are like my socks for when it's like really cold, which, spoiler, is like a lot in Melbourne, especially for me because I get really cold feet. So yeah, definitely a big fan of DK socks. I actually bought some DK sock yarn when I was just in Perth, so I plan on making more pairs, that's for sure. That's these, can't really say much else because it's the same pattern, you know? And then speaking of same pattern, This is my third pair of staple socks, which I actually made using the yarn that I won as part of the staple sock knit along. So I was one of the lucky prize winners because I finished my socks and I filled out a form and all of a sudden I was a winner. So that was great. And I won this really adorable watermelon sock yarn, which is dyed specifically to be knit into socks. So it comes in like 250-gram skeins. And then yeah, you get this beautiful like ombre moment. I feel like they look so crazy bright on the camera, but I promise in real life they are a lot more normal looking and a lot less, yeah, just like crazy. Like I'm looking at this and I'm looking at my screen and those are two different colors. But anyway, you get the idea. They're watermelon. They've got black speckles to obviously look like seeds. We've got the green leading into the pink. You get the point. And the yarn is so nice and soft and was so nice to knit with. So these also, I just sped through, like, you have no idea. Like, I couldn't believe how quickly they knit up, especially because I was well and truly into using my shorties, my like 9-inch circular needles, which I've become addicted to. That really changed everything for me. So once I got used to using those, and like, I think this was like the first project that I did like entirely on the shorties. Yeah, it was game over from there, basically. So yeah, we have these. Those are all the staple socks. And then the last two pairs I'm going to show you, well, I actually made one other pair of staple socks, but that was for my cousin. That was one of the gifts that I was talking about. So you don't get to see those, but it was just another pair of staple socks in a really pretty yarn. That's basically it. These are a bit more exciting to talk about. So these are my little check socks by Summer Lee, and I just love them so much. They're so cute. I feel like I haven't even worn these yet because I knitted them pretty recently and it's obviously been ideally not really sock weather. Some days maybe I could have gotten away with these, but yeah, it definitely has been warming up. So especially considering how thick these are from all the floats, these will get a lot more wear next year. But nevertheless, I have been on a bit of a colourwork kick at the moment and just was dying to make these. Finally got all the yarn that I needed for it. I had been waiting for the red from my pre-order from the Woolen Works, the Bear collection, and I finally received that. And so I made these socks. The colorways I used, so like I said, I used the red is Let It Rip from the Woolen Works, the Bear collection. The white is the Hodgepodge Skeins Prosecco colorway. The pink is a combination of all of the pink yarn I could find in the end because was this the one? Yeah, this is the one that uses all one color, well, and which was a mini, I think it would have been a Greta Oopsie from Woolen Works, because it wasn't quite exactly like the Greta, like this is Greta and this is the color that I used, and they're not the same as you can see. This one's a bit more like a warmer pink. So I just found it in a tub of minis at Bendigo that she was selling. So it was the only one left. I would probably got two if I could have. In hindsight, I should have just bought a full skein of pink yarn because I wasn't thinking about the fact that you use the pink on every row and then you alternate between the red and the white. So the pink is actually the one you need the most of. Obviously I wasn't using it for any of the toe, the cuff or the heel, but I still did not have enough. I basically only had enough for like one and a bit. I think it was around here that I ran out. So I still had this entire sock to go. And then I think I kind of like transitioned into using the rest of the actual Greta that I had left over from this pair. And then I ran out of that. And then I had this like a sock set that I had gotten in Canberra, which ideally I would have used with the yarn that it was meant to be used with, but I just had to sacrifice that because I was like, I need pink. And it was close enough. Like, honestly, I feel like because of the way that I transitioned it, and also just because it's like not a solid, it's not just the whole thing is pink. Like, obviously there's color changes and stuff. So I honestly don't think it's noticeable. Also, obviously, most of the parts that I use different colors are not going to really be seen when I'm wearing them because, you know, shoes and whatnot. So it worked out in the end, but it was definitely a bit of a chaotic process to get these done. But we got there in the end, and I really, like, you can't tell. If I hadn't anything, there's no way you would have noticed. So I think we got away with it, and I'm so happy with how these turned out. My tension, obviously, so good. Like, I sound like I'm just, sorry, I definitely do sound like I'm very up myself. I don't mean to sound like that. I just am really proud of how I am progressing with color work and whatnot, because I haven't done very much of it until pretty recently, and yeah, I've become very obsessed with stranded color work, and that is definitely something I want to do more next year. Okay, last but not least, the final project that I'm going to be sharing with you today is the Happy Hour socks, which is also my latest pattern. I guess it's my second latest because I released them like a week before the Happy Hour top 2.0, but you know what I mean, okay? More or less, I feel like I released them on the same time, even though they were like a week apart. But I digress. This is my first ever sock pattern, so that's very exciting. I'll give you a little bit of a closer look in case you haven't already seen them. Obviously, we are using the same stitch as is used in the Happy Hour top and all my other Happy Hour patterns. So yeah, I basically was like going through my sock craze at the same time as I was writing the pattern for the Happy Hour top 2.0, and I thought, you know what? This stitch would look really nice in a sock, and I think that I am actually finally ready to design a sock pattern after years of kind of like dabbling in sock knitting, but I never really got like fully into it until this year. And so I felt like I had knit enough sock patterns, folded enough sock patterns, tried enough sock constructions, etc. to have a go at writing my own, and I'm really happy with how it worked out, especially considering like, you know, it's not just like a vanilla sock pattern, like there's a stitch pattern involved, makes the grading and whatnot a little bit more complicated, but I feel like I did really well. It does have 3 sizes as well, which I wanted to make sure that I could offer like not just a one size, change the needle size situation. I wanted to make sure that it was size graded so that more people could make it. And yeah, I'm really happy with how they turned out. I used, for the first sample, Daffodil Road yarn in the colorway Frangipani, and I am currently knitting a second pair, but I only have knit one at this stage. I finished it literally last night on the plane. It's taking me a while to get through the second pair. I think I probably am going to take a bit of a break before I knit the second sock of the second pair. So, you know, we'll see how we go. But yeah, I think I probably need a bit of a detox from this stitch after so much going on. I feel like I need a bit of a break, but at the same time, I also do really love this stitch. But you know, sometimes we just need to do it in smaller doses. But anyway, yeah, it's got this gorgeous German short row heel, which I love. And obviously the stitch just looks so nice. I would recommend like a solid color or like a lightly speckled or like low contrast variegated yarn for this pattern, just so that the stitch can really kind of, you know, shine through and have its moment. And yeah, I just haven't really been able to wear these socks for the same reasons that I haven't been able to wear these socks. It's just the time of year, but I look forward to getting plenty of wear out of them once it gets cold again. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm really happy that I finally got a sock pattern out, and I'm really glad that I got it out before the end of the year. And who knows, maybe we'll have some more sock patterns in the future. I have some ideas of like adapting some of my existing patterns into sock patterns, so we'll see how we go. I'm gonna leave it at that. It wouldn't be one of these videos if by the end I'm not just like totally delirious, talking at a million miles a minute and don't really know what I'm saying, because I feel like just no matter how, like, even though I felt like this was gonna be like a shorter one, I feel like it's never gonna be the case. So anyway, I'm actually gonna try to wrap this video up. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I have had a great year of knitting. It's been a very weird year to an extent, like a bit of a transition year, especially in my life with moving and everything, and yeah, like working a lot more. I haven't really been able to post on YouTube as much, so I am sorry about that. But at the same time, I guess I just kind of have had to choose my priorities of like, do I want to knit more or do I want to spend all my free time editing? I want to knit more. So yeah, these videos haven't been as frequent, but I definitely hope to be able to get back into uploading a little bit more frequently on here next year, now that I've kind of settled into the flow of things. So we'll see. But yeah, I've got some really exciting things coming up next year that I can't wait to share with you. That's everything I made this year for myself. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some inspiration and some pattern recommendations. Hope everyone will have, I don't know, depends on when this video goes up, a very happy new year and a nice relaxing break. Hope you've had some knitting time over this period, and time with family and friends and all the things. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Bye!